Hello, I'm Don Mitchell. Thanks for listening once again to me share another lesson from your breakthroughs. Lessons from the 400-year project that's designed to enable the whole world to be a much better place and expanding and improving God's kingdom. Let me begin by quoting from the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verses 10 and 11 in the New King James Version. May he who supplies seed to the sower and bread for food supply and multiply the seed you have sown and increase the fruits of your righteousness, while you are enriched in everything for all liberality, which causes thanksgiving through us to God. And of course, now we're going to be focusing on the for-profit sequence. We're looking at complementary 2000% solutions. God intends to multiply all good things, whether they are the results of righteous actions or simply the harvest that he uses to feed us. Yet many people seldom know such multiplication, despite the natural world abounding in it. For instance, just a handful of the right kind of seeds, properly watered, fed, nurtured, harvested, their seeds later planted as well, with the process continuing from crop to crop, can feed large numbers of people for many decades. Though many people feel that such opportunities are few and far between, my experience has been that the potential to create such large multiplications is usually easier to achieve in our own lives than in the natural world. Why? Due to being informed and empowered by the Holy Spirit, we can pick better targets and move faster. Despite the obvious advantages of being able to make such fruitfulness occur, few people feel they need to bother to learn how to accomplish such multiplication. It's as if they were hungry in the middle of a supermarket while holding a fistful of $100 bills. All they have to do is pick out the food, take it to the register, hand over some money, prepare the food, and eat. While becoming competent in making 2000% solutions requires more effort than buying and preparing food in the supermarket example, learning is minor compared to the size of the benefit. Few people require more than 80 hours for gaining the necessary skill. What's 80 hours compared to the potential to generate in a few months the equivalent of several centuries worth of benefits produced in the same old ways? Okay, let's talk about the role of 2000% solutions in creating more value. Perhaps the most important point to share with you is that 2000% solutions with better goals create vastly more value than other such solutions do. If you care about improving value, pick the best solutions to work on and do so in the optimal order. I chose to take this perspective here because the introduction to this part in Lesson 8 do a good job of explaining how to increase benefits provided to customers and users. Owners of for-profit companies are going to be quite interested in what they gain from multiplying complementary 2000% solutions. If owners don't benefit, they will block any attempt to produce stakeholder benefits that are perceived as not providing value for them as well. Let me share 7 points. First, simply expanding revenues by 20 times will not by itself necessarily increase ownership value. Exceptions to that observation mostly occur in the following circumstances. A, you're in a new industry with no one is yet profitable, and revenues are used as a surrogate for estimating future profits, such as how cellular telephone service providers and internet-based businesses were valued in the 1990s. B, your operation could be consolidated by a new owner into an existing one to make the revenues much more valuable in terms of profits, cash flow, and dividends. C, your below-scale enterprise or operation leaps above the minimum scale to become much more attractive in terms of percentage of revenues that provide profits, cash flow, and dividends. This shift will be true of many small businesses when they reach medium or large size. D, your profits grow in line with the revenue increases, causing growth in profits rather than revenues to account for your improvement. Second, decreasing cost by 96% to serve a customer and user will usually yield a more than 20 times increase in ownership value. A, such a change will normally increase profits, cash flow, and dividends by more than 20 times. Some of the cost decreases can be applied either to attracting more customers who will be highly profitable or adding revenues from existing profitable customers. Third, decreasing the fixed assets and working capital needed to serve a customer or end user by 96% will usually yield a more than 20 times increase in ownership value. A, such a change will normally increase cash flow and the ability to pay dividends by more than 20 times. B, some of the decreased investment intensity will permit faster growth, further accelerating profit, cash flow, and dividend expansion. 4, increasing value for non-stakeholders by 20 times has no direct impact on the organization value for its owners unless these value improvements translate into changed behavior that expands the organization's profits, cash flow, and dividends. By increasing by 20 times the economic value by customers and end users at the same or lower price, cost, time, and effort, may have a more positive impact on value for organization and stakeholders than any other 2,000% solution. This change positively allows for rapid expansion in revenues, profits, cash flow, and dividends for all stakeholders due to current and potential customers and end users greatly increasing their purchases and consumption at the current or lower price level. B, if the market is above average inelasticity for increased economic value, the expansion of revenues, profits, cash flow, and dividends can be a large multiple of 20 times. C, the increased performance experienced by other stakeholders is likely to create multiplied benefits for the organization and its stakeholders in terms of reduced costs, less investment intensity, lower cost of capital, and greater access to key people and critical physical resources. 6, in most instances, the smaller the unit that is benefited by any particular 2,000% solution, the less the value impact will be on owners. The primary exception will be if the unit is engaged in activities that investors value much more highly than other units in the same company, organization, business, or operation. B, a secondary exception will be when a smaller unit is more sensitive to the value aspects of the improvement than either the entire company or some larger unit or subunit. 7, improvements accelerate the rate of expanding earnings, cash flow, and dividends over more years will create a larger increase in ownership value. Potential investors will assume the improvements will continue in the future and pay a premium for what has not yet happened. B, the ultimate base is creative will usually be larger than what can be generated by quick bursts of improvements whose benefits don't continue to multiply. From those 7 observations, see the optimal order of 2,000% solutions may not be the same as first expanding revenues by 20 times, then reducing all costs to serve a customer or end user by 96%, followed by reducing investment intensity by 96%, and then making selected changes to increase value by 20 times. Let's explore the question of the right order for engaging in 2,000% solutions to improve value by considering some hypothetical examples of various kinds of businesses. The first example, let's consider a typical investment-intensive manufacturing business. Such organization needs $1 million in net assets for every $2 million in revenues. Obtaining the first $1 million is going to be difficult for most startups. Growing by 20 times will then require adding another $10 million in investments. I'm sure you see the point. For such an enterprise, reducing investment intensity is probably the right first 2,000% solution. Investment needed in the beginning drops from $1 million to merely $40,000. To grow revenues by 20 times, that requires only adding $800,000, a small amount compared to the cash flow to be generated by adding $20 million in revenues. Let's look at a typical distribution business as a second example. Such organizations usually don't require much investment compared to revenues. $200,000 in net investment might suffice for $2 million in revenues, but they usually have small margins, profits divided by revenues. You start by reducing costs to serve a customer by 96%. You create enormous value improvements as profits, cash flow, and dividends grow so much and so rapidly. With a healthier base, growing the business is very affordable, bringing more value to benefits. As a third example, let's consider an organization that's very profitable, has a great cash flow, and pays enormous dividends, but is very small. This organization focuses on anything other than revenue growth. The value expansions will not be nearly as substantial. The lesson I'd like you to draw from these examples is that each organization has to consider the value sensitivity of various 2,000% solutions for its organization and stakeholders in order to determine the optimal order for creating and implementing 2,000% solutions. In doing so, it may be the case that repeating a 2,000% solution to create a 2,000% squared solution in the same activity may be more valuable than moving on to make a complementary 2,000% solution in different performance dimension. As a result, the most attractive 2,000% solutions to develop in the optimal order for expanding the value of organization and stakeholders will vary quite widely from one business to the next. One of the most important strategy decisions an organization makes is selecting the right breakthroughs to work on and the best sequence for accomplishing them. Keep in mind that assets, businesses, and companies have very valuations at different times, in alternative forms, and when operate in other ways, financed from other kinds of sources, and with new owners. 11 selection methods can help in choosing the best 2000% solutions for adding value. First, estimate the value of the asset, business, and company in its highest value forms. Operate optimally to emphasize its appeal in each value form. 2, use what you learned to assume combinations of value improvement moves, such as selling some assets that investors who like the business don't care for, but other investors who like the assets do. Third, test sensitivities of your major 2000% solution options for their effects on the highest value forms and potential value improvement moves. 4, consider how the order of implementing the more attractive 2000% solutions affects the apparent values now, in a year, and beyond that. 5, determine the time frame in which you would like to optimize value. 6, select the value improvement moves you are willing to do. 7, determine the easiest to accomplish 2000% solutions to make in their proper order for apparent value enhancement during your time frame. 8, write a description of what you plan to do and ask in a legally appropriate way those who could affect the value organization in its preferred form, how they would evaluate the value of the plan you put together now, after you've been doing it for a year and after you succeed. Ask them to tell you how confident they are of your success. 9, adjust your plan based on the feedback you receive. 10, begin implementation and adjust the plan to reflect the success you have with the 2000% solutions. And finally, 11, update what you did in step 8 and repeat steps 9 and 10 until you reach the valuation you want. The lesson I'd like you to draw from this process is that each organization has to consider the value sensitivity of various value forms, value improvement methods, 2000% solutions, the order of 2000% solutions for its organization and its stakeholders in terms of theoretical impacts as well as in value influencers' reactions to what is planned in order to determine the optimal order for creating and implementing 2000% solutions. Company leaders and owners who would like to better understand the interaction of 2000% solutions and value improvement for all stakeholders should read Advanced Business, from which this lesson is taken. We now describe your assignments for Lesson 9. The first is, what are the highest value forms for your company, business, activities, and assets? Second, what are the best value improvement actions you can take for putting your company, businesses, activities, and assets in their highest value forms for all stakeholders? Third, how can 2000% solutions make those results much more valuable? 4, what order of 2000% solutions makes the most sense for the value improvement time frame you have in mind? 5, are there substantial value improvement opportunities to repeat making breakthroughs in one area of performance before starting to work on a different performance improvement? 6, can you create any 2000% solutions that will expand multiple dimensions of value for your organization and stakeholders without making additional breakthroughs? And 7, how do those who can affect value in any of these forms assess what you have in mind in terms of value influences, likelihood to occur, and credibility? So I hope this lesson once again has stimulated your thinking. Key point is owners care about value of what they own. And if you don't address that, you're not going to get their approval and you're not going to get very far. So unless you are the owner and you can then choose to do what you want, you're going to have to be persuasive by doing what serves them. And along the way, you'll serve a lot of other people, as you can see from these examples. So come back soon and learn more about complementary 2000% solutions. In the meantime, may God bless you, your family, and all you do. In the name of Jesus, take care. God bless.